possums. Hello, welcome to the channel. I said possums because it's stuck in my head. It's just honoring the greatest comedian, Barry Humphries, who sadly passed away yesterday. So everybody in Australia and England is kind of sad that he's passed away. He's such an amazing wonderful man, very super intelligent and just funny guy. If you don't know his name, you'll probably recognize the name Dame Edna. Oh, alrighty, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So what I'm doing today is, welcome to the new channel. Started a new channel, so I thought I'll make it a little bit more informative, a little bit more professional. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to show something to the newbies that you can do. This is not working. Okay, I went and cleaned that. Let me try again. So what I'm trying to do here is trying to make it a little bit easier for the newbies so they can practice on their waves and not worry about everything else that's going on up here. Practice your waves first and then combine them with the rest of your ocean. So what I've got here is I just wet the board a little bit, and I didn't prime this board. So what you can do is, to make it easier for yourself, is get a bit of water, or even easier, just get a medium, any kind of medium, just to carry this, just to carry it. In fact, I think I am going to go and get a medium. Not that kind of medium. Not a psychic or anything, although sometimes I wonder. Anyway, let's try and keep this professional. Alrighty, so there I go. I'm just painting this pigment. This is azure. I'm going to go and get a medium and paint this on. Now you can use any kind of paint, but I want to show you how you can also use these pigments, Le'Rez pigments. So I will be showing you what not to do as well as what to do. Now you can do this. This worked out alright. See how it's coming off. So I've got here 3 blobs of medium. You can use any medium, gel medium, any art medium that you can. You can even use PVA glue. Let's have a look. I'll put that PVA glue over here, because PVA glue, although it will, the only thing with the PVA glue is that you can't really see the true color right away, because obviously it's gonna make it look opaque because it's white, but it will, if you already know what the color looks like, then you'll be fine, because it will dry, as you know, clear. So we're going to do that one in that. Now I'm just going to get, that was azure, and this one is the dusty teal, and this is my favorite pigment, absolutely favorite, is the turquoise blue. So now I'm going to be mixing them together. Now you can use this little spoon to mix them together, or you can use a spatula, or you can use whatever you want to use. You can even use a brush, but I find that brushes, they soak up all the pigment, and then so there's that one. See how it looks really light? Does not look right, but it will be all right, because it will dry up. It will dry up clear and its own sort of color. But I will put it on here just for the sake of this video, so we can see the progression of the colors in the ocean. So that one can go there, and then I'm going to mix that together. So this one was just an acrylic medium. Makes a really nice color. Another thing, you can mix it with varnish. You can mix pigment with almost anything that is that's got a bit of body. Water is a little bit you know, water won't carry it. So anything that's got a bit of body will do. The only thing is with varnish, it'll set on you. If you get an acrylic medium, it will last longer, much longer in a jar, just like a regular paint. Okay, so that's that color. How nice is that? And then we're going to mix in the teal. Another thing you need to know is to wear a mask. Just be, you know, be in a really well ventilated place. You don't want to have any fans going when working with pigments, because there'll be pigment everywhere except on your piece. So a mask would be a good idea just to protect yourself, because these little particles are harmful, even though, you know, these are all FDA approved and cosmetics approved, but you don't want to be breathing that stuff in. You don't go around and breathing your eyeshadows and things like that. Yeah. So let's do it now. Let's just paint it. We're going to paint the ocean, just very roughly. It's not going to be anything spectacular. The reason why I didn't just going to lift this up so I don't mess up my plastic straight away, and you can clearly see what I'm doing here. The reason why I didn't prime this one, this piece, is because the color is pretty close to the beach color, so I want to leave a little area here for my beach. That is the reason why I did that. And here we go, here with this gorgeous turquoise. And all the colors look a little bit darker because of the darker background, but that's alright. You can go again in a few minutes. Go again and just do it again. Now let's do a little shape here for our beach. And because the board wasn't primed, it's soaking up all that paint. I'm going to go ahead and do the sides as well. You can put gloves on. Protect yourself. I'm not too bothered with it right now because I'm dealing with acrylics. Where was the second one? Was this one here? Just do the sides, just so it's more uniform, and you don't have to worry about it when you put your resin on. And the dark one. See how good that is? I'm going to use my hairdryer. Actually, I don't have my hairdryer here. Just a torch. Not even a torch. I'm going to use my heat gun. I don't even have to do it. It's soaking up so quickly that I'm pretty good to. Maybe I'll do a little bit more of a beachy over here. There we go, so we've got more water. And the sides, don't forget the sides. Another reason why I opened I started another channel is I'm going to be doing more in-depth tutorials, especially, or demonstrations, especially for the beginners. And you can sort of flip and go back and forth to my previous channel to, you know, to see maybe more advanced art that I'll be doing there. And also you know, a lot of people do a membership thing where you have to pay to go and learn things or see any other content that they hide from other people. I'm not about that. I'm sharing everything. It's just some people get annoyed with things that, you know, they're more advanced and they want to see things, you know, they just want to see it done and be done with it and go. get onto another video, I'll go do it. Yeah, so that's another reason. And also, you know, Le'Rez can put promotions here, and you know, whenever I have a discount code, I will put that on here, so you will be informed and you don't have to pay for anything. Just watch. And also please subscribe and share, or tell your friends that I do have a new channel, so that you know you can pop in, support it, so it grows as well, and a lot more people get to see and enjoy the content. You know, hit that bell. I never bothered about that. I'm not even bothered about it now, but I do care about my followers. I do care about my friends and my customers, and I want people to, and especially newbies. I always have a soft, you know, a soft heart towards my newbies. So I like to help as much as I can, and not have you worried about what's coming on next, and is it going to be too complicated. This is going to be simple, and I think this is pretty simple. You've seen that I've blended all the colors nicely. Just go back and forth. If you are a real newbie and you don't really do any painting, you've seen how easy that was. And you can use your regular paints, that's no problem at all. I'm going to use my heat gun. I made sure that all of my powders I've moved out of the way. I'll clean that so I don't have powders flying everywhere. Okay, especially if you're using a hair dryer. Okay, there we go. I also suggest, if you are a newbie, that you use a board instead of a canvas. You can by all means use the canvas, but it will warp, and you know, it will disappoint you, because when you're doing your waves, they won't stay, the foam won't stay in one spot. It will, you know, it will go everywhere, or it'll go towards the middle where the canvas is sort of creating that dent. So you don't want that. Okay, I do also recommend that you have some sort of a baby wipe. I don't really use baby wipes because they don't, I like, they're probably safer on your hands and more gentle on your hands. I just use the disinfectant wipes. These are just Coles ones, no advertising or anything like that. They just work great, and they are cheaper. They only cost like $3.50, and I think you get about 100 in there, or 80 or 100. And they're great for resin, and I always have them there, and they, you know, I just clean everything as I go. Try to clean everything as you go, because it does help a lot. I might do another coat just to make this a little bit a deeper color, although it doesn't look too bad. It actually looks quite nice. However, I do want to leave this to dry a bit more, because I don't want any moisture in there when I start pouring my resin on it. So okay, let's put this aside to dry. Might even take it out in the sunlight, so to help it. It's not too hot, so it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna warp it or anything like that. It's just a gentle sun, but it will help dry these completely. I have decided, you will get used to this, I have decided to add a tiny little bit of gold. This is just the gold digger, and I am going to, just to give it that shimmer. It's going to be, so you can hardly even see that. That's just the moisture, but it will have that shimmer. It's only because when I put it out in the sunlight, all of this was shimmering beautifully, because these are all mica powders and they are pearlescent. So you can see the beautiful shimmer, and then this was kind of like a bit dull. So that's why I am putting this gorgeous, I only mixed a tiny little bit, because like I said, I just want the shimmer. Now I could have gone and used other shimmery powders that I have in here, but I decided to go with the gold instead. but I could have used the sun catcher, which is beautiful, but to be honest, I just did not want to have too many particles flying around, and that is a very, very fine powder. So here we go, that's that. Now that should be it. That's giving me, I don't know if you can see it. Oh gosh, how selfish of me, I've moved it. I don't know if you can see, can you see that? You can sort of see that shimmer now. Alrighty, so off it goes outside, and then I'm gonna mix up my resin in the meantime. Okay, so here I've got some silicone cups. They're measuring cups. You can tell that they've been used many times. And I'm finding it hard to see the numbers here. You can sort of feel it on the inside, which is really strange. They should have really been on the outside, so you can. But anyway, what I do is, so that I can see it better, I just use my pen and I just mark. So that's 50, that's 100, that's 150. So I just mark the hundreds. Then I know that in between is 50. So that's 100 milliliters. Now you work whatever way you like. If you're using ounces, then you mark it the way you find is easiest for you. This is how I do it. So now I know what's what. Here we are, we're back. So I'm going to be using the Art Coat by Platinum. It is a thicker resin. I suggest that you mark your lids, although this is good. One's red, one's blue, but sometimes you forget. I know I forget which is which, so I make sure that I mark my lids. Otherwise, if you put them on the wrong one, you'll make a big boo-boo. First of all, they will stick, and second of all, you'll mess up your ratios. So we're doing 1-to-1 ratio, which is really easy because we only need 1 cup. Because I can do 50, 50, 50. And we're going to do 100 milliliters. I'll probably need more, but we'll see how we go. I can always add more. But if you have extra, always have some molds ready so that you can pour into a mold. So let's go. Where's my 50? 50 is 40. 50 is right here. Let me mark that so that I can see. I suggest you start with a small piece. Get used to it and work your way up. And don't go from small to huge or to really large straight away, because there is a huge difference. You need to kind of work your way up. But once you start working on larger pieces, you're going to love it. So now that I've done that, I'm going to just use the same cup and go all the way up to 100, because I'm only doing 50-50. Literally 50-50. So I'm going to go up to 100. Don't panic if you go a little bit over. You can always adjust that, and they always allow every resin company, or most resin companies, they will allow for like up to 5%. You know, if you make a mistake and you go over, it'll still seal and cure. Sometimes it may take a little bit longer to cure, but it will still do it. Just don't make a mistake that I've made a couple of weeks ago, where I totally messed up the ratios, and things didn't set. But I managed to fix it, so that's a good thing. Okay, are you moving? See, part A is always, any resin is always a little bit thicker. Okay, now I've got it. It's exactly right. I like to wipe just to keep things clean. You don't get any drips, which will mess up your cupboards. You don't want that. Right, so now that I've got all of it in there, I'm going to move it into this cup. Now, if you already had a bigger measuring cup, then you wouldn't have a problem. You just do it all in the same one. But because this one's small, it's going to make it a bit harder to mix, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Just try and get every single bit out. Scrape, and you want to mix for about a couple of minutes, at least 2-3 minutes. All depends on the temperature in your workshop or your art room, because it's a little bit on the cooler side. I'm gonna have to mix this for a bit longer for it to combine. If it was warm, it would you know, mix faster. Sometimes I even go outside and just hold the cup in the sunlight and stir it. You don't want to stir too hard either, because you're trying to avoid the bubbles, so especially if you're doing stuff in molds. So that's another thing that you should note, not to stir. But you know, practice is the biggest thing. Some people sit there and take notes and write everything down, which is great, because when you do write things down, it's sort of bypasses everything, goes directly in your memory bank. But practice, to me anyway, and watching people do things is much easier. So the temperature that you want for the most successful, and most resins like the temperature of about 24 to 26 degrees Celsius. Not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. I can find out, but you can easily Google that. So 25 is ideal for this resin. It is definitely not 25 here. It just means that it's going to take a little bit longer for it to set and cure. So setting time and curing time is usually different. To set, it means it's just not moving anymore and you can touch it, so it's set. And depending on the resin, it could take up to a week or even longer for some resins to completely cure. And you can say it is completely cured, but it is working. Another thing is, when you mix your resin, don't leave it sitting like this in a cup. Not every resin will tolerate being in a deep cup like this. It'll really overheat, and it's not a good thing. So you don't want that to happen. So once you stir it, and don't be afraid. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you every scenario, so you know. Don't mix your resin and then you get on the phone and just leave it there for half an hour, because it's going to start to cook and probably foam up and melt your cup. It will melt your cup for sure, unless it is that type of casting resin where you can do it. But before you buy any resin, you got to find out. This particular resin, I can't leave it in the cup and go. I have to pour it. There is a certain depth that you can, usually it says on the actual packaging, it'll tell you how deep you can cast it, and and not worry about it. It'll still be good. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm just gonna leave that aside for a minute. These things, you can flip them over and it'll drain, and then you just wipe it. I'm just going to leave it as is and then wipe it. So the way you tell that resin is well mixed is that there's no sort of hair looking like lines, like strings, like stringy lines. That's how you can tell. And you've got to make sure to scrape everything off the side and the bottom, and then scrape it off your palette knife. Okay, so that's that. Now the white that I'm going to use is the Angel White Le'Rez. Of course, it is the best white for creating waves and, you know, foam. So I hope I do it justice, because there's a lot of artists out there who are way better than me in doing this. that you can have a look at. One, I will suggest you have a look at her resin. One that I will recommend is Michelle Tracy. She is amazing. She does some really well, I don't think she does any more resin art anymore, but she used to do some beautiful ocean and seascapes, and I will, if I remember, find her and put a link below so that you can look her up and yeah, learn from her as well. Her videos are very sort of short, but she explains everything. She does the voiceover and cuts the time pretty much, so you can just binge on her videos. She's really amazing, and she used to use Le'Rez a lot, and especially the Angel White. Okay, so here we go. Let me go and grab my piece from outside. Should be well and truly dry now. Okay, so here we go. It looks dry, feels dry. I'm just using something to prop it and hopefully put in the middle. Another thing you have to remember, ooh, what's happened there? It was not meant to happen. I must have had some Angel White on my glove. You need to clean that. Good point. You need to clean that really, really well, even if you scrape off some of your paint. And look, it's not coming off. When you use a proper medium, you won't do it. But you need to clean that, because that now is sort of might cause a dent. But I think I've cleaned it, so it'll be alright now. You've got to make sure that your table is level, and I'm not sure, because you don't want to mess up your, you go both ways just to see. You don't want to mess up your, or lift it that way. Just got to make sure this is right in the middle. I want it right in the middle. Your waves, you know, you don't want to mess them up. I need to get something pop underneath there, just very small. Okay. Let's see what happens here. I'll put this right in the middle, but you can put some cups and things like that. I just want to make sure that does not move. Actually, I'm going to go this way and move this that way. Okay, so now that you can have a better look. Now let's have a look. Alright, not too bad, but still any tiny little bit will affect it. Where is it? So now that's too much. I just need a tiny little bit. Hold on. Sometimes even like a piece of cardboard will be enough. Look at that. And now don't touch it. How about that way? Well, it's not perfect, but I'm going to go with it. And anyway, it'll be educational. So let's do it. So now that we've got... What happened there now? A bit of glitter. Okay, now that we've got that, I'm going to pour this clear. This is just the easiest way to do this. And another coat probably would have been better, but for the sake of this video, let's just do this. And look how that it pops. That beautiful mica just pops from under there. We don't want too much. And the reason why I lifted it on that piece of what used to be a tape, or, tape roll, is so that I've got, you know, the resin can fall, and you can tape the sides as well, but this is so thin that I was worried about taping it and making a mess and confusing everybody. So I'm going to let it drip. Then you can collect those drips, and you can sort of use them as well, dry or wet, but that's something that we're going to do another day. And you can just look through my older videos. They're old, they're like 5-6 years old, Some of them I've just uploaded them. So this is another indication. You can see where it's sort of moving. You can use your, oh, that's nice, isn't it? You can use your spatula, if you don't have these, I sell them in the shop. They're great for big, like stirring in big cups. I'll get the smaller ones, or just use, you know, regular paddle pop sticks, whatever you have. I like to use my hands, and also I can feel with my hands if the resin is starting to warm up. It's just an indication for me to hurry up, and because it's just means it's the chemical reaction is definitely has happened, and it wants to set. But this is nice and cool, and like I said, it's a cooler day, so it's going to take a little while to set, so I'm not worried. And just have a little bit of fun, and it's not a bad thing to like get your hands in there and just feel your art. And also another thing, I am a certified art therapist, and this is truly therapy. Although I never did this kind of resin art in my practice, when I practice art therapy with clients, it's getting your hands into things, into paint and stuff like that. Yes, definitely. So that was 100 milliliters. You may ask, how did you know how much to use? Well, that's even too much. I overestimated a little bit, but that's all right. I've got a little bit left that I can probably about 30 milliliters, something like that, an ounce. Right, there we go. Look at that, and the fun part's gonna happen. So we got our white. I might let the white start to sort of sit in there for a little while I just blow the bubbles. So you use the heat gun or a torch to blow the bubbles. The main thing is don't panic, because you'll see things, you still have time. Like resin will get the resin that will give you at least half an hour, you know. When you're a newbie, half an hour goes really fast, but you want to get one that's at least a half an hour. And when you get a little bit more experience, then, you know, even 20 minutes, 15 minutes, you'll be sweet. You actually want a resin that sets faster so that you can get on with it and, you know, get them to cure and take them to the markets and sell them. So, but when you're a newbie, you want a little bit of time. Just try not to panic, you know. Get your cleaning stuff, because you will get messy. You're not used to it, and people say resin is so sticky. It is sticky when it's setting, but at the moment you've seen how, you know, it's flowing and it's good. You also need a butane torch. You can get a little creme brulee one that's smaller. I've even got a bigger one than this. According to what you're doing, when you're doing a little piece like you know, smaller than that, even little coasters and things, you want a little creme brulee one. And when you're doing a big piece, then you get a real big torch. So I am going to add, we're going to have some spillage. Like I said, this was unprimed, so it does help that I've got that medium, because that sort of works as a sealer. Have I got any drips yet? Not yet, but it will happen, because once I start blowing this white, it's definitely gonna happen. All right, so with this white, I'm gonna follow this line here, and you can pour it. You can use a little piping bag if you want to be exactly precise, or you can just use your stirring stick and just kind of pull it. You want to go above normally, but because just so you don't mix the paint with or the paste rather with your white, and it'll spoil it. But because this is clear, it's just clear, I can actually drag it and it won't matter. So I might go this way. See, now I'm dragging it. See how nice I'm getting a really nice thin line, and it's going deeper because it's just clear. And I might do another line, maybe a tiny little one over here. That will move. It'll all move, you'll see. You can leave it like that if you want. And then I might just go from this end. And I always mix too much white. I forget how, you don't need that much, but I might need a little bit more here. Make it thicker. And I don't want to do too many waves. I just want to do kind of like thicker waves. That's why I'm going over. And if you lose some with the, you know, you might want to go over it again, you know. Might go another one here. I just don't want, let's just go. Let's just go with it so we can see. So I'm going to start with a low speed, just to kind of heat things up. I like to stand up when I do this. I've got better control. Now I'm going to put it on a higher speed. Okay, so I didn't like how that was going. Another thing you have to remember when you're using a heat gun, don't hold it for too long. You can actually go back and forth, but don't hold it in one spot for too long. It will cook and it'll scorch it and burn it, and then you can't fix that. So this is looking good. You sort of want to leave it and watch it for a little bit. I like the way that looks. I might just want to pull that down a little bit, just help it go down. Because the sides are so dry, it's actually not dripping over. It is there, which is great. So that's not looking too bad at all. I'm going to go over it again. This sort of method is really good if you want to layer things and do kind of like more than one layer. Because once this sets, you can go over it and paint again. In certain areas, maybe you can do a little I don't know, cloud up there, or just put a dolphin there, or whatever you want, and then do the white again, and it'll sort of become like a 3D piece. That's looking quite nice. I am going to put another one up there, but I do want to maybe add a little bit more here. Sometimes you can overdo it, and that's something that I do not want to do right now. I don't want to overdo and spoil it for you. I nearly said kids. I have my grandkids here, so I often say kids. So no, I don't want to overdo it for you guys. That's cool, and we might do like one maybe coming from this angle over here. Just to help that sort of fall down there. Okay, I've got some drippage there. Okay, so we said I was going to go from this angle here. What I'll do is I'll blow these first. Don't worry, don't panic, just go for it. There is an attachment that you can put on here. I don't have it on me. Wow, where is it? Which is great. I don't have it on me. It's a wide one, and it sort of pushes things. Or you can put one of these ones, which will give it. You'll see. I'll just pop it on now. Just got to be careful. That is super hot. So once I put it on, I'm not taking it off. So it's going on now. Okay, let's go. It's more intense. Okay. So you see how I just, you get that with experience. You kind of like up and down, up and down. You can feel where it's going. You can sometimes go out the opposite way like I did there to make that a different direction. And I do want to put another wave up here and hopefully not disturb that, but I do want to put another wave here. We might even make this one a bigger wave. Let's go this way. And just blow it all out. So that's looking pretty cool. I do like that there. That's really good. So that's making me now want to fix that. Like I said, you can overdo it, so I've got to be very careful not to. But I do want to funky up this one as well. Sometimes you just, resin is very unpredictable. You've got to sort of watch it. It depends on the weather. It's starting to heat up now, so things are moving. This there, you can actually add more cells, if you like cells, by doing this. Careful we don't burn it because it will yellow. But that intense flame will see how it's starting to break things up? Pouring over, it's sort of creating that. Okay, let's do this wave here now. You've got to be very quick and careful. Now I don't want to touch that anymore. Other than to add some more just there, and that might sort of all fall over. So you can help these bits just by pulling this down. And I can feel it now under my fingers. It's warm. So now I'm going to leave it alone. Oh, I've got some really nice effects there. That's that layering of the white up, you know, one over the other. I'm going to give it a little torch. Oh, something's happening there. That's interesting. That's the pulling. It's pulling to one side, so I'm getting that interesting look there. Alright, so that was just to blow those bubbles. Now this is going to change because it is, you know, obviously moving, and the table wasn't perfectly leveled, and obviously when these things start, you know, going over, they pull. So that's being pulled over there, but I quite like it. It's just a gradient of sort of different colors, and And there you have it. We will be back. I'll bring you down so you can see the close-up. Then I'm going to clean all this up. Okay, so I'll show you now before I do that, because I do have some molds. Okay, let me just show you. I don't... oh, that has changed dramatically, hasn't it? It's still looking cool. It's still looking pretty cool. I might just fix that though. I'm not sure if I like that. I don't know. What do you think? It has done something that I'm not sure about. So I'm going to try and go over it and just blow it again. And let's see what happens. It does look... So we can fix that sort of with the second layer. I'm thinking out loud. I tend to do that a lot. I won't touch it. What I will do is I'm going to give it a little bit more heat. This here is great, but it's moved from my line there, so I'm going to fix that. Everything depends on your... Actually, the way I can fix it better is if I add some more clear. This is another little trick that you can do. Well, it wasn't meant to go there. Push it. You can do that because it's just clear. I've got no... And I'm constantly looking. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit more heat. Yeah, interesting. It's all gone like that. This is just a real quick fixer-upper. I do like that line to be there. That's why I'm adding it. And if I'm just going to leave myself a little bit of this white so I can come back later. And if I see that that line's pulled again, I'm just going to add a little bit of white to it. But let's deal with our drips. That's so interesting. I actually don't mind that at all. It's because it's round, and it's next layer is going to be so much more controlled, I think, because some bits are pulling more than others, and yeah, it's creating that, which is pretty cool. All right, I'm going to get my palette knife now, making sure you're still on there. Just grab a palette knife and collect all of this great stuff and just pour it in my mold. Now, this is an old mold, but it's still good. It'll still do its job. And we are saving all this stuff, and I'm going to have a nice little trinket dish. I do need one on my windowsill, so put bits and pieces on. Okay, so that's that for now. I'm going to just go around and clean all this, and then we'll be back. That's looking very interesting, but that's fine. I'm going to leave it like that. I could go and fiddle with it and fix it, but I don't want to confuse you too much. We will be doing another layer over this. So this is going to be the video 1, and then the second layer will be the second video. I'm going to leave it for now, and I'll be back around the same time tomorrow, because it'll take this resin about 10 hours, which will be night time here. So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow morning. Bye for now. Another little tip, that bloody bird. Another little tip, if you can, just go around and wipe the edges from the leaks. We haven't taped the bottom. That would have been a wise thing to do. Sometimes I forget that newbies don't know these things, and I didn't know either when I first started, so I should do that in the next video. But for now, we're just going to be going around and scraping the sides and the bottom like that. So it's pretty much stopped moving. Once it stops moving, you can leave it alone and not worry about it. But it's there are ways to clean the drips, but prevention is much better thing to do. So we will. I've moved it now, haven't I? It's good to go around and make sure it's tidy. You'll make your life much easier. And unless you're throwing away your plastic or your paper, whatever you're using, or if you're using paper, you will definitely have to throw it away. But if you wish to use your plastic another couple of times, then go around and clean it. Try not to create too much dust though around your area, because you don't want any hairs or anything like that. But because we are doing another layer, we're not worried about it, because we can deal with that. Another good tool to have is some isopropyl alcohol, which is really great for cleaning. Once again, don't spray it on your artwork. You can, but not if you want to create those lovely wispy kind of waves, because it'll break them up and you don't want that. Alright, now I'm going for real. Bye.